Hey there guys, welcome back to AFC Game by Game. Bournemouth 3, Arsenal 3. I really do not even know where to start with that. An absolutely mental game. Had absolutely everything. To come back from 3-0 down to draw the game 3-3. How do you look at that? Is it a decent point? Even given the circumstances, I struggle to look at that as being a decent point. We've drawn away from home at Bournemouth. A team that, I know they've beaten Liverpool. I know they're a very good side. They were 9th in the Premier League going into the game. They are a very well-rounded side under Eddie Howe. I do feel that we should have been having the beating of this team if we were to mount any sort of a title challenge towards the second half of the season. Now, you know, you look at the table, we are relying on Spurs to do us a favour now if we are still to remain in contention for the league title. And I've been saying it throughout the course of this season. I'm really striving not to look at the Premier League table because I don't want to focus too much on where we stand. But based on today's performance and from what I saw from Arsenal, I really do find it hard to say that we deserve to be up there as title challengers, because frankly there are a lot of underlying problems in this Arsenal side that have been there for years upon years upon years, and it's very typical that we put in this kind of performance, especially in that first half. I expect to see better from Arsenal after so much time enduring these horrible problems that we've seen over the past couple of years. It was awful, absolutely awful for large spells of today's game, and maybe I am being a bit too negative coming off the back of what was a rather exhilarating climax to the game. Olivier Giroud getting that last gasp equaliser, and there were celebrations and everything, and you know, it all kind of does seem a little bit hunky-dory at the end. But as I say, it's a point away from home against a side that not too long ago were in League Two. And I don't mean to discredit Bournemouth in any way, because I feel like they deserved 3 points, to be frank. They were exceptional throughout the course of this game. Certain individuals really played well, and I just think towards the end of the game it was just we had a little bit more endurance than they did, a little bit more stamina, and we had some fresh legs on the pitch. Questionable decisions going into the match first and foremost. The starting lineup, couldn't quite get my head around that. Mustafi came back in for Gabriel. You know, Mustafi, I think, had a really quite shaky game upon his return. He seemed very out of place at times. He didn't really seem to bode too well alongside Laurent Koscielny, but his unbeaten run in an Arsenal shirt does continue in somewhat fortunate circumstances, you could say. Gabriel came on later in the game replacing Laurent Koscielny. I'm not sure if that's down to an injury, but I thought Gabriel actually looked quite convincing when he came on. Maybe a little harsh to drop him in this game. Has played well in the past couple of matches that he's been involved in, and we have kept 2 clean sheets on the bounce. There are a lot of positives going into the game, I thought, so it's really disappointing that we couldn't continue what had been the foundations of something very good in the past couple of weeks heading into this match. But anyway, I won't differ on that for too long. We saw Aaron Ramsey come into the team as well. Didn't do a lot to convince. I do kind of buy into the argument that he is not being utilised in his correct positions. But then again, there is a very good counter argument that there isn't really a position for him at Arsenal. Whether he plays on the wing, whether he plays in the number 10 role, whether he plays in central midfield, he really does not seem to be overly convincing in any of those roles. And I just struggle to see the guy from 13-14 that was just unbelievable. 22-year-old Aaron Ramsey, who was absolutely setting the world alight. Now I look at him and different player, completely different player. He does not seem to slot well into this team. There's very little chemistry of him and other players. He does do some very good things, make no mistake about it, but his decision making at times is incredibly rash. I do want to see the best for him, and I do hope that there is some way of him getting a starting berth in his Arsenal team. I do want to see him playing well. Maybe it's a question of putting him alongside Granit Xhaka and giving those two an extended run in the midfield. But even Granit Xhaka today, I thought, had a very shaky game, giving away the penalty, making a couple of rash decisions in the second half of the game. And I can't quite work out why we started with 2 inverted wingers once again, Alexis and Iwobi playing on the flanks. Iwobi, I thought, had quite a poor game, to be honest. When Lucas Perez and Chamberlain, 2 players that can provide width, provide pace in the game, which desperately needed it. It was a very slow front 4 that we had, apart from Alexis Sanchez. We desperately needed pace in this game, and every time Bournemouth went forward against us with the likes of Stanislas, Wilson, even Daniels, it was a very dangerous counter-attack that I utilised throughout the course of this game, and we should have learned from that. I mean, we should know how to go into these games. We had so many players with pace and exuberance on the bench. Perez was phenomenal when he came on, showing exactly why he should have started this game. I know he started against Palace, but he hasn't played a lot of games for us this season. So for me, he should have started on that left-hand side. I'd have been very inclined to have gone with Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain on the right-hand side of the pitch. Played Iwobi through the middle again, and then played Alexis Sanchez up top. Go back to that really exciting, really exuberant front line that we've got. But we did continue with Olivier Giroud, and credit to him, he got 2 assists and a goal in this match. So he was really, really influential. But I do think, especially in that first half, we would have been better lining up with pace and then using someone like Olivier Giroud as an impact sub if things weren't going our way, which they definitely weren't in this game. Bournemouth, fantastic little side, as I say. They've done incredibly well to get to where they currently are in the Premier League. Eddie Howe, 8 years ago, was taking charge of his first game, a 2-1 loss to Darlington. He's now put in what was somewhat a managerial masterclass against Arsenal. They haven't got the result they necessarily warranted through their performance, but they were really exceptional throughout the course of this game. A real blessing to the Premier League. I think Bournemouth are real quality sides and an example of how football should be played. Really did set up for an exciting performance tonight from Bournemouth's perspective. But, again, a team we should have been having a beating of. That first half was shocking from us. We did not start well in the slightest. The first goal that we conceded just seemed to be the epitome of what's gone wrong for us over the past couple of years. Simply not working hard enough. Hector Bellerin completely out of position. Daniels having a free run at it, takes it through Hector Bellerin, completely outdoes him there, and then puts it through Cech at his near post once again. 1-0 down. And you would have thought at that point we'd have responded well, but we didn't. It was poor from us again. We gave away a penalty not too long after. Just a simple ball over the top, doing exactly what Leicester did last season. Ball over the top, player latches onto it. Granit Xhaka, incredibly rash decision here, bringing down the man. Definite penalty, and Wilson made no mistake in putting it past Petr Cech. And it's absolutely ridiculous of me to say, but Cech really does not look like he gives too much of a care in the world when it comes up against a penalty. He just seems to give off the impression that, oh, well, he's going to score anyway, so I won't make too much of an effort to try and save it. That's definitely not the case. I'm sure Petr Cech has every intention of saving the ball, but from what I've seen, the past couple of times Cech's tried to save a penalty, he does not look overly interested in trying to keep it out of the back of the net. But 2-0 to Bournemouth. Again, you would expect us to respond well. We didn't. They got a third goal through Fraser, who I thought was absolutely impeccable throughout the course of this match. Again, far too easy down Hector Bellerin's flank. Puts it through the legs of Petr Cech to make it 3-0. 3-0 down away from home at Bournemouth. That is embarrassing. That is really, really embarrassing. And we do have a real tendency at times to be pathetic, to be futile. We saw it last season at Southampton when we lost 4-0. We really do have too many games like this where we get ourselves into embarrassing and pathetic situations. But I won't dwell on that too long because we did stage a rather emphatic comeback, bringing on the likes of Oxlade-Chamberlain, who came onto the pitch for Francis Coquelin in that first half. Coquelin seems to be out of an injury now. Another player in an Arsenal shirt has picked up a knock. We saw Lucas Perez introduced, who, as I say, was absolutely fantastic when he came on. Those were the two players that really made the difference. Oxlade-Chamberlain and Lucas Perez providing so much width down the flanks. It's no coincidence that we looked a lot better when they came on. And we did get our first late-stage comeback goal through Olivier Giroud, knocking it onto the head of Alexis Sanchez. Wonderful assist there provided by Giroud. Alexis Sanchez in the right place at the right time. The next goal on from that, Lucas Perez, stunning volley. Lovely looping ball over the top onto the foot of Lucas Perez with an absolutely, as I say, wonderful volley to make it 3-2. And then in the final stage of the game, Olivier Giroud, of course it had to be him, with a guided header, as you would expect from the big man up top. Celebrations, limbs absolutely everywhere, but it's a point away from home against Bournemouth. As I say, a very respectable side, but a team that if we are going to have any credentials in this title race, we do have to be having the beating of. As I say, we are now relying on Spurs to take some points off of Chelsea if we do want to remain in contention. But again, we just have to focus on ourselves, brush ourselves down, and heading to that next game with a lot more impetus, because we did not start today's game well in the slightest. Before this game, we were the only team in the league to not have conceded in the first 15 minutes. So, I mean, maybe it's a one-off. I don't know, but I mean, after so many positives against the likes of Crystal Palace and, starting to see this team form a bit of an understanding with each other after what had been a couple of disappointing results against Man City and Everton, it does feel quite a lot like we're back to square one. And I am a bit sick. In fact, I'm very sick of being in this vicious cycle of being an Arsenal fan where at this stage in the season we do seem to blow absolutely every single chance at the title that we have out the window. But I won't get onto that too much. I don't want to overreact when there are still 18 games of football left to be played this Premier League season. Plenty of time to go on a run and put things right. But it was an entertaining game for the neutral. Certainly won't take that away. Credit to Bournemouth, credit to Eddie Howe. They were exceptional throughout tonight's game. They'll feel like they should have come away with 3 points. But on the night, for us, hard work and effort paid off in the end, I guess you could say, and we have come away with a point to our name. Anyway, guys, please do get your thoughts on the game in the comments box below. Please do let me know your thoughts on Aaron Ramsey at Arsenal. I know that he divides opinion massively, and it's something that I'm really interested in hearing your opinion on. So please do comment that in the comments box below. Please do drop a like on the video if you have enjoyed it. Subscribe to AFC Game by Game if you're new, and I'll be speaking to you very, very soon.